Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Michael Annan and this is episode 39, the preview of Leinster versus Edinburgh in the Investec Champions Cup round of 16. The topics we'll discuss today are the Champions Cup game predictions, the details of our game, team lineups, score and man of the match prediction, and a discussion point on Scotstoun Semi-Final. Alright folks, straight into this. It is Champions Cup round of 16 time again. We have come round this side of the year to a very exciting round of 16, I must say. That the setup for these games are incredible. We'll just get through these ones. So actually starting today, Friday, we actually start off with Northampton Saints versus Castres. And to give a prediction for that, I do think Northampton Saints should have that in the bag. They're a much more dominant team than Castres. Moving over there to Saturday, we've Bath versus Saracens. I do think Bath will have that. You know, them playing at home is always very good for them. Huge atmosphere over there, and they've I think a much stronger team on their side too. Moving to the next one, we have a little bit of a controversial call here for this one. We have Toulon versus Stormers, and I am actually going to call a Stormers win for this. I know they're travelling away, and sometimes they don't perform as well outside of South Africa, but I do think they're going to upset Toulon here and pull a win out of the bag. Next up, we have Glasgow Warriors versus the Bulls, and look, we all know Glasgow Warriors are on form this year, especially in the URC and also in the Champions Cup, so I do think they're going to get the win there on Saturday. Moving next there, we have Toulouse versus Bristol Bears. I think that's probably the... is that the most obvious answer for that one? I think it's going to be Toulouse. Yeah, like I think the bookies had them 1-60 on outright. So look, that's the most predictable one to call there. And if I get that wrong, Jesus, well, okay, fair enough. Fair play to the Bristol Bears if they do that. Next up, we've Harlequins versus Sale Sharks. I'm going to call this one as well a little bit controversial. I do think Sale Sharks are going to win that. I don't think I've seen the game style from Harlequins. I've seen them this season. I just don't think they're up to it. I know they have the home advantage there, but I do think Sale Sharks will nip that. Moving over there to Sunday, then we have the last two games. So we've Bordeaux versus Leicester Tigers. I think Bordeaux all day, lads, 100%. And then last but not least, we've Leinster versus Edinburgh. I think we all know what I'm going to say there. It's definitely Leinster. If you're doing an accumulator with those options, you are actually going to pocket a 10.5 to 1 odds. And look, I'm not a betting man, as I say, but it'd be nicer than an Easter egg to open up on Sunday. The details of our game there is kickoff is at 5:30, Sunday, April 5th, and that is Easter Sunday. Weather's looking very cool, in fairness, but it's dry and it's not as windy as it will be on Friday and Saturday. It's around 9 degrees Celsius, 30% chance of rain, but that yellow wind and rain warning should have passed by kickoff. So yeah, decent conditions for rugby there. It'll be a very good game, the Aviva. Referee there is Luke Pearce, as you know, English referee. Some facts about Luke Pearce, actually. He was born in Pontypool, imagine, and he grew up in Exeter. He started refereeing only at age 16 at the Devon Rugby Referee Society, and he became the youngest ever member of the RFU National Panel at just 21 in 2009. So there you go, a couple of nice facts. I actually don't mind him. I think he's a good referee. I think he's fair and he's very clear, so he should produce a very good game for us, and looking forward to it. Where you can watch it, well, if you have tickets, obviously at the Aviva Stadium, but if not, it is only on Premier Sports 1. No domestic channels there, unfortunately, again. But I do think this time you can actually listen to it live on RT Radio 1. So yeah, maybe don't watch it this time, and go old school and listen in. Okay, Leinster lineup going into the backs here. Number 15, Hugo Keenan. Number 14, Tommy O'Brien. 13, Raiko Ioane. 12, Jamie Osborne. 11, Jimmy O'Brien. 10, Harry Byrne. 9, Jemison Gibson Park. Moving over to forwards there. Number 1, Andrew Porter. Number 2, Dan Sheehan. Number 3, Tyg Furlong. Number 4, Big Joe McCarthy. Number 5, Ryan Baird. And his return, mind you. Number 6, Jack Conan. Number 7, Josh Van der Fleer. And number 8, our captain, Caelan Doris. Going over to the bench here with number 16, Gus McCarthy. Number 17, Alex Usnov. Number 18, Thomas Clarkson. 19, Brian Deeney. 20, Max Deegan. 21, Luke McGrath. 22, Kieran Frawley. And last but not least, 23, Robbie Henshaw. Moving over to the Edinburgh lineup there, we have in the backs 15, Pierce O'Connor. 14, Darcy Graham. 13, Matt Curry. 12, James Lang. 11, Maleli Satala. 10, Ross Thompson. 9, Charlie Shield. Over to the forwards there. Number 1, Pierre Showman. 2, Ewan Ashman. 3, Darcy Ray. 4, Marshall Skies. 5, and their captain, Grant Gilchrist. 6, Lee McDonnell. 7, Dylan Richardson. And number 8, Ben Muncaster. Onto their bench there, we've 16, Jerry Blight Lafferty. 17, Bowen Venter. 18, Paul Hill. 19, Glenn Young. 20, Freddie Douglas. 21, Ben Velicott, 2 Moses Tuipulotu, and last but not least 23 Jack Brown. You'll have noticed that both teams are actually opting for a 5-3 split. McCarthy, Usnov, Clarkson, Deeney and Deegan obviously for R5, and McGrath, Frawley and Henshaw as the last 3 there's back covers. So yeah, fantastic lineup for us. Going over to who to watch. Yeah, look, Ryan Baird. Ryan Baird, the return of Baird, my God. Like six months. We have lost Baird for 6 months. It is absolutely astonishing how long he has been injured. Obviously from a very bad leg fracture, if you remember that, from I think it was South Africa. So look, he's going to be a massive injection of energy. He's physically in form. He's been training with the team now for I think over about 3 weeks. He's one of Leinster's most dynamic carriers, and he'll be hungry for a good return. So I'm hoping he'll have a fantastic game. Obviously, you have to mention Caelan Doris here, a fantastic captain, arguably probably the best in Europe. Edinburgh's going to need to target him to break down. He played an absolute smashing game against Scarlets. So yeah, if he gets into his rhythm, I think it's over quickly. He'll be such a good addition to that team. Dan Sheehan there as well. Was he the best hooker in the world? Yeah, 100%. He knows it. His line out, his carrying, being the back of the mauls there, he's so strong. He has a nose for that try line, 100%. He'll be central to it, and I hope he has a fantastic game in the set piece. So yeah, over to Edinburgh there. Yeah, look, that's for a team that's been having serious issues this season with performances in games, they have named a very strong team. Like their number 10 there, Ross Thompson. Yeah, he's a very creative player. He's well used to causing an upset. He's very clever in this kick game. He's going under pressure, but yeah, look, I think if we target him properly, we should knock that down. And Baird actually is very good at knocking those kicks down. So hopefully we get to see some of that action as well. Darcy Graham there, yeah, number 14. Look, dynamic try scorer. He's so fast, sensational in Six Nations. Yeah, very dangerous player when he has the ball. There's nothing really much you need to say for him. He's just super fast. Yeah, and then last but not least, probably Grant Gilchrist. Yeah, captain. I think he's taken over the captaincy there. I don't remember him being the captain all the time. Is it Bradbury's normally? It'd probably be good if I looked that up. Yeah, but I think Bradbury's actually out injured, so that could be the case. Anyway, look, he's a very experienced and calm, seasoned line-out operator there as well, so he could be very dangerous for us. But I think our line-outs have been actually very good. I think Big Joe McCarthy's been stellar in them as well. So yeah, look, I think if we beat them at the line-outs, we might actually keep him under control. But he is very good at it. So yeah, hopefully we dominate the set pieces and don't give him a chance. Going into some previous games there, yeah. So most recent meeting there was just in January gone past. We actually beat them 28-20. That was in round 11 of the URC in the Aviva Stadium. And it also is worth noting that Edinburgh have lost 9 of their last 10 away games in all competitions this season. So they are on probably a mare of a time in terms of this season. So yeah, going into the prediction there, we beat Scarlets 36-19 last week in URC. Cullen only made 4 changes from that squad. We've been actually very dominant. Edinburgh obviously lost away to Stormers as well, so they're on the back foot. But the bookies, interestingly, have us 10-11 on with a -24 handicap. They have us actually outright at 1-25. So that's saying something there. And, Edinburgh's away form obviously been brought into that. We've won all 4 of our pool games quite dominantly, actually. So that obviously stands for something. So yeah, I suppose if I was to give a prediction, yeah, I think I'm going to say 34-12. I think we'll miss a couple of conversions there. Obviously not putting Harry Byrne down there, but his kicking form wasn't fantastic against Scarlets either. So yeah, and in man of the match, fuck it, yeah, Ryan Baird. Ryan Baird, I have every faith he'll be an absolute rocker coming out on Sunday after missing so much game time. So yeah, hopefully he gets a little medal to mark his return. Alright folks, discussion point. Yeah, look, obviously I don't want to get ahead of myself and jinx it here for us, but I was just looking at the way it kind of lines up. If we were to get a semi-final here, and realistically looking at who's on the other side, you're probably talking Glasgow Warriors. And as you know, that recent loss that we had at Scotstown was an absolute eye opener. It was just it's something you don't want to see. I thought we should have been way better, but realistically, if we were to get to a semi-final, I think they would also realistically get to a semi-final because they finished in second and we finished in third. It'll end up being in Scotstown again. So look, we were physically bullied in that game, mostly in the contact areas, and we lost the collision battle. falling off tackles, which is, as I said, for a long time is a huge problem for us. So I was kind of, bringing this up to say, like, what exactly do we need to do to avoid that happening again? So I'm going to probably try to identify some of the main points at which we lost that game. Obviously, straight away, the 2 yellow cards absolutely killed us. One of them, you could argue, probably wasn't a yellow card. I do agree, looking at that again, it wasn't. But let's just take those 2 things out of that equation. And obviously, fair enough, you're going to scream at me, well, sure, look, with 2 yellow cards, you have 13 men on the pitch, obviously that's an equation. But let's just look at the other things, right? So the breakdown was an absolute mess. We conceded way too many turnovers, and that was probably down to our ruck speed. So we need to just get our ruck speed up. If you looked at the actual statistics for that, our ruck speed actually slowed down to over 4 seconds. So that obviously is both on the attack and defence there. So we were slow to it. It meant that our strike plays that we've been doing for a long time just weren't connecting. But it also gave them the option to just lean over and jackal those balls, which is not great. The likes of Tuipulotu there, Hugh Jones, all those lads in Glasgow Warriors, just you can't give them the time nor the space for that. The tackling there, very passive. We weren't really offloading the ball. We were kind of crashing down, but that was what Glasgow Warriors were doing. Their offload game was so good, and they were very fast. So I suppose, look, next time, I think the defence just has to go up. I think our attacking game probably would have been okay if we kept the ruck speed up. I think just we got very tired very fast. But no, if we could just do that rather than going into the chaos style rugby, I think we just need to go back to basics, do what we do best. The crash play is good, but we need to be fast at it. The tackling, we've had that issue for a long time. Even the last game there, we had Josh van der Fleer and a few of them just missing tackles, and that's not their level of play. I haven't in a long time seen them not have a performant game where they're actually land their tackles properly. Obviously, that game as well, Sam Prendergast had an absolute mare of a time, and then he also had a row because they were goading him because of it. I do think we should probably start Harry. Just because I think he has the head. I think since the Six Nations, poor old Sam he's lost the head there, and I think if we're under pressure, we have Frawley on the bench, and he can come on, and he's a visionary. In fairness, we won't have him for too much longer as well, so we should utilise that. And I think the last day we just didn't look to the bench quick enough when we were under pressure, and we should have. So a couple of things there. Just look. I think the line-out maul as well, there was a complete non-factor for us. So that has to be a primary weapon, and we're so good at it. We have our full pack back. We should focus on that. We've seen it against Scarlets there. We made some loads of meters in the gain line there. And look, Franco Smith knows that. He knows exactly where we had pain points. So, top 3 there, falling off tackles has to go. 100%. We just need to make sure we land those tackles. And I think it was kind of a double-edged sword, because you've seen a lot of the lads trying to fly up really quickly to not to intercept the ball, but to really push them back on that attacking line. But unfortunately, if you don't land the tackle against that, you just create a huge gap. Apart from that, then obviously the kicking game, I just think Harry Byrne definitely has to be on that instead of Sam. And then last but not least, the ruck play just needs to be much quicker, which is strange, because Jamison Gibson Park normally is very good at that. But I think just on the day that it was, we were on the back foot for most of it. Down 2 men as well didn't help. I think it's just we have to get our discipline up. We have to get re-establish that set piece dominance, winning our sales again. Just go with it. So look, not to put a damper on it, but we do need to book up here, especially if we do get to that semi-final stage. We're going to be under pressure here against Glasgow Warriors, who know our number and have played us only very recently. So at least the silver lining here is that we can actually look on that game and see what their attacking style play was, and I'm sure Cullen will have that, his eyes set for that one. But look, anyway, first off, get over one game at a time. Edinburgh now, Sunday. Let's just get that over with, and slowly but surely get to that semi-final and make plans then, because you never know what might happen in between then. Alright folks, that is her, so thanks again for listening. If you haven't already, do please follow us on social media, Instagram, Reddit, and Blue Sky. Jeez, I keep forgetting that one. I hope you're at the game on Sunday. It'll be an absolute cracker, and also give Monday off for most people, so it'll be a great game to go to. But as always, thanks for listening.